welcome back to the podcast. I have truly one of my favorite people on the planet joining me today. Samanthas, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know we have been part of a mastermind together for this whole last year. And due to what's going on in the world, we haven't gotten to see each other as much as we were planning to because we haven't been able to get together in person. It's been a bummer.
It has been, but I'm super grateful for technology and being able to see you on Zoom right now and, on Instagram and everything. So we're doing the best that we can.
We totally are. And this is my favorite way to catch up with friends because, it adds value to other people too. And I have been dying to have you on the podcast, but the timing really aligned perfectly because you have something really, really exciting that you are launching. And we're going to get into all of that in a little bit. But for those who maybe do not know you yet, I would love if you just want to start with what inspired you. Obviously part of your journey led up to you creating this product. And of course you can share what that is, but what inspired that journey? What from your own experience really had you say, okay, the world needs this product and needs it now?
Oh, great question. I'm excited to share this because it's been a journey. I've been an entrepreneur for about 10 years. So it's right when I was graduating college, instead of going to med school, my gut was pushing me to not do that and just to figure it out. So I was really thrown into entrepreneurship and being, self-based business at a really young age. And over the years, I got into online business through social media and building my online personal brand and all this sort of thing. And a few years into it, I was probably in my mid-20s that I had this life-changing event happen where I really had to take charge of my life and make some decisions and change it really drastically. So I really started diving into manifestation, the secret, the law of attraction, and all of that for guidance, because at the time I felt very alone in the world. I was an entrepreneur. I was so young. Masterminds and even the online business world, what it is today, we didn't have Instagram with all the business coaches and all different masterminds. It was really just like Tony Robbins, and that's it back then. So I turned to manifestation, law of attraction, because I was really pulled to, I can create my dream life. I don't have to stay on this trajectory of what I've been doing. So from there, I just started journaling and using the law of attraction, and I kind of created my own little manifestation ritual for myself, creating a vision board and writing down exactly what I wanted. And throughout this, I was moving from Arizona to Los Angeles and to a city where I didn't know anybody. And I was at that point where I'm wow, I could move to this new city and completely recreate myself because nobody knew me. So this was my time to really dream big. And so that was about 6 years ago. So over the last 6 years, I've been using this method and I've built my business. I've attracted money and wealth, my boyfriend now, which I know I'm going to marry, love, where I live, all these different things were happening over the last 6 years, really fast and really powerfully. And I was oh my gosh. So I started sharing this technique just last year because I felt I felt like everybody knew this. Who doesn't know this? Who doesn't know manifestation, law of attraction, that kind of a thing? So I started sharing it at at retreats last year when we could meet in person. And some of my friends that I'd met these retreats started using my method that I'd created. And I started getting these text messages saying, oh my gosh, Sam, this worked. Oh my gosh, I got this job. Or, oh my gosh, I got a raise. Or, oh my gosh, this happened. And I was oh my gosh, what? I didn't realize the power, what my method and technique had. And it was basically just this morning manifestation ritual thing that I did every single day, which I didn't think too much about it for anyone else to use. So I, at that point, knew I had something, but at the same time, I'm a business coach, social media expert. I'm running my own mastermind. I have business coaching programs. I have students. I'm very in the business mindset of things. And that's what I do really well at and do good at. And then when COVID happened, when it hit, and I saw everyone having to pivot, everybody freaked out. People were going into this negative mindset and just they were losing jobs, losing money, losing everything. And I just saw this happening in my communities of all this negativity going on. And for me, I was thriving during this period. Like I was making more money. I was getting more enrollments in my business coaching and everything. And then I kind of started looking at the bigger picture. I'm like, why am I thriving right now? And why is everyone else around me feeling so negative and just like losing it all? And it came down to their mindset. I mean, every single day we're waking up and the first thing we're usually turning to is our phones on social media or the news or something like that. And we're instantly impacted with all this negative information like coming at us, right? With everything happening with lockdown and COVID. So what inspired me to create this product now during a pandemic and like literally release a physical product was because I saw what was happening in my community, and I saw the most like powerful men and women just crumbling in fear and negativity, and their businesses like their loss in income and business was a result of that. So I decided on a whim just to go out on Instagram on my stories and be like, hey, I'm looking for 20 women to go through my manifestation method. And I immediately had so many people DM me and apply. So I put together a quick Facebook group, and over 4 weeks, I took them through my process. And for this process, this was just a digital product at the time. I was really just focused on getting feedback on like, hey, did you like it? Did you understand it? And whatever. Instead, every single week, we had these group Zoom calls every Sunday. I had women on these calls crying, talking about their breakthroughs, talking about how they just feel lighter and better and more like, again, just these incredible transformations were happening on these calls, which I honestly like just didn't expect. So from there, I was like, oh my gosh, like I have to get this in every single woman's hands, because this is like the most powerful thing. And it all starts with that morning mindset. So from where I started, 5-6 years ago, and what I've been through in my life to today, like this is the process that's helped me, like just like consistently stay in a positive mindset. And when you're in that high vibe state, like that's when you're truly able to just like attract everything that you want in life. And you are really, it's easier to repel that negativity and noise out there.
Oh, it's so true. And this year has really highlighted something that I've been thinking a lot about. I think you and I have similar mindsets just in life in general, but I would look around before at people who just seemed powerful amidst chaos, or they seemed to, they would have like unfortunate things happen in their life, but never seemed to be really rocked by them. And there was a time before I really found all these same resources you're talking about and understood the power of my own mind, that I thought some people were just wired that way. But the truth is it does take work. And especially when we're faced with the kind of year that 2020 has been, it takes extra work to keep your mind where you want it to be. And I'm so grateful that you created the journal and a tangible way for people to guide themselves through that, because the truth is I think we're going to need it even more in the coming year.
Yes.
So, I mean, what were some of the breakthroughs that you did see walking that group through this process in that initial 4 weeks?
Some of them was just believing in themselves, especially during a time right now where things, are just, not the best for most people. Just being lifted by taking that power back, that from what was like, almost feels like it's taken from you. Like, our freedom, we're on lockdown. We can't leave our houses or go to our job.
Yeah.
Just the knowing of being able to, okay, this is just right now. I'm going to get through this. I had another lady, she's actually in real estate, which right now, real estate is another big impacted job. But she had made some bunch of money on some real estate deal in her business when she was in this program. And it's because she was writing it down. She's like, I want to close another deal or a house or something like that. And she made a bunch of money in that. Another girl, actually, it was funny. One of the women that was in this group, she actually missed a few of the calls and started missing them. And she had reached out to me directly. It was like, hey, Sam, I'm so sorry I missed your calls, but I was actually using your method to manifest a boyfriend and I actually met someone. And now we go hiking every Sunday during her call time. So she's like, I'm so sorry, but your process worked. So thank you. So there was a lot, literally from every single probably every single category that you can think of, from like love to money to job and career. There was a girl that really disliked her job while she was in this beta testing group. And from there, she went into a meeting, and she was like talking about this openly. She's like, she came on a Sunday call. She's like, Sam, she's like, well, I got fired. And I'm like, well, you manifested that, didn't you? So right after that, though, she had attracted a new job right in that she actually loved and wanted. So super powerful. It was so just incredible to see all of this happen literally over a span of 4 weeks.
Wow. And you're right. It's over every single area of our lives. And in my experience, I'm curious to hear if this is what you've experienced too, or what you've seen others. Sometimes I'll go into like really being intentional, thinking I want a breakthrough in one area, and it ends up giving me breakthroughs in all these other areas that I really wasn't even setting intentions for. I think just understanding that I have that power over how I view the world, the opportunities I see or don't, it opens up everything.
It really does. It's literally like Pandora's box. Like, and that's why I start saying, like, you know, with every action that you take, inspired action, it's like you almost have to like be careful what you wish for and what you ask for, because at the same time, it's like when we start asking for this, and this is why I think when people start using this manifestation process and they're maybe wishing for the love of their life, or they want more money, or they want a better job or career, etc., and all of a sudden things start crumbling around them. Like you feel like things are like falling apart. Like maybe, oh, you got a flat tire on the way to work, or maybe you lost some big client or something like that. But when all of this happens, when all the shifting and breakthroughs start happening, it's not because what you want is bad or the universe is bringing you bad things, but it's because everything's rearranging now. You're asking for a certain thing that you want in life, but there's so many things that have to rearrange for you in order for you to get it. So it's one thing that I do want people to remember is, you know, when things are falling apart or you think like bad things are happening, like just keep on trusting in the universe or God or whatever that higher power is that you believe. Like just know that it is happening for a reason, and it's going to get you to that next level that you need to be at in order to be able to receive.
Gosh, is that so true? We think it's like Amazon Prime. We just place our order and exactly what we want arrives in the form that we want. And that's not always it. Sometimes it looks a little different than we thought.
Yeah.
So I want to get this really tangible, because for people listening, maybe they've heard this word manifestation before. Maybe they've heard of The Secret, but it's a little like, okay, that's a little woo-woo. I don't know about that for me. What if you could boil what you define manifestation down into like the simplest terms? What is it, and how can it really benefit those of us who are pursuing big ideas or building businesses?
With manifestation is just all about getting clear on what you really want. Because at the end of the day, if we're not clear on what we want, and if we're not writing it down, and I truly believe like writing down your goals, your visions, your visualizing, so everything from writing it down to visualizing your goals and exactly what you want, you're going to see that happen a lot faster than being wishy-washy. Because at the end of the day, like the universe, like just think about it. We have such power, like the power of the mind. And when it comes to attracting what we want, with that, I'm trying to like figure out how to like put this in like the easiest way possible. When you are able to get clear and ask the universe for what you want, it will bring you not necessarily that exact thing, but it's going to bring you the best thing for you at the level that you are at. So if we are walking around and just being like wishy-washy with our goals and our ideas, like we're changing our minds every single day, just think about the universe, and you're like, you have this magical vortex around you. Like if you're being wishy-washy with that, well, you're going to attract anything and everything all the time. Like the universe doesn't know what to bring you. So that is the power of manifestation, of just like acting. You have to be grateful, be happy. So it's always, you have to be in a high vibe state. If you're in a negative, low vibe energy state, you're going to attract what you exude, right? So if you're happy and in gratitude, from there, that's how you're able to put out your request to the universe, and it's going to be able to bring that to you. So that is kind of how I would say what manifestation is.
I know that wasn't like that was a kind of a deep question, but I always try to bring it because I'm one of those people that has a very logical brain,
Mhm.
and it actually helps me when I can understand some of the science behind it or some of the like, okay, but why or how. And it really wasn't until I started to look into, because there's some serious science behind why all of this works,
Yeah.
that for me, it became really tangible. And I've used techniques like what you're talking about for years. And it's really fascinating. I mean, we could go down so many rabbit holes. But I want to talk a little bit about, so as people are envisioning their year, this is a very reflective time. I know I've been spending a lot of time getting clear, like you said, about what I want for the next year, for my life, for my business, spending some time like really deep in reflection and challenging myself on what I think I want, right? All those things. So planning for 2021. What are some of the tangible things, like you talked about having this morning routine? What are some of the tangible things we can be doing daily? Because I do think, and you can tell me if I'm right, it's like a daily process. This isn't like a one-time thing and then you get what you want. What are
No.
some of the things that we can be incorporating into our daily routine and start to put some of this to the test?
Yes. Oh, I love this. So the whole manuscripting method that I created is the whole morning routine. And it is most powerful. I have to preface this with doing this routine is the most powerful in the morning. I don't recommend doing it in the afternoon or in the evening, because when you wake up first thing in the morning and you do the manuscripting method, which is basically writing down a sentence in your journal, you're stating you're so happy and grateful. You're acting as if you already have something that you want and you're thanking the universe or your God for it. So basically, when you wake up in the morning, I highly recommend keeping your phones on airplane mode. Do not get on social. Do not even turn on the TV or any really music or anything. If music, high vibe music, like even that like meditational style music, something like that, something to get you in that high vibe state. But immediately what I do after I wake up is I go grab a green juice and I'll go to my meditation chair. So I actually have an area, a specific dedicated area to doing my morning routine and ritual. And when I sit down in that chair, I then meditate for about 10, 15, 30 minutes, whatever I'm feeling called to that morning. There's no specific numbers. I just do what I feel. And then after that, I go straight into the manuscripting method process, which is writing down a statement saying, I'm so happy and grateful that you fill in whatever that goal is that you want to accomplish. And so that's saying like, I'm so happy and grateful that, for example, I have $10,000 in my bank account and I have 5 amazing clients. So maybe you're trying to manifest money and new clients or something like that. You're acting as if you already have it and you're thanking the universe for it. So I write this down. The manuscripting method, it's writing out that same sentence 10 times. So the power of 10 is that's what really connects you to that higher consciousness level. And then also with that is as you're writing it, when you write what you want, your manifestation sentence down maybe once or twice, cool, you're like, okay, I want this, great. But when you have to write this out 10 times, you're thinking about it, you're visualizing it. Like this is the time where you just get into that, oh my God, I'm so happy, I'm so grateful. Like you're really like believing it and feeling it. And that's the power of like the manifestation, like starting to like kick in. So the power of doing this in the morning versus any other time is because when you do this first thing in the morning, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind. And that is why you have to do this every day, because every single day we are bombarded. Like if you go on social media, there's no avoiding anything that's going on in the world anymore. You turn on the news. Shoot, I even get like text messages now. I live in LA, like the alerts of like going to get a COVID test, like the the emergency like Amber Alert things. Like,
Yeah.
I can't avoid it no matter how hard I try. You're going to get impacted by someone saying something to you or something. So that's why you have to reprogram your own mind every single day. So if you see people out there, and I know on social media, like, it's a highlight reel and everything, but a lot of people are thriving during this time. It's not because they're ignoring or don't care or they're not affected. They're working on their mindset every single day. Like even to this day, I've been doing this process for 5 or 6 years. I still do it every single day. Because for example, a few weeks ago, I broke my foot, and you better believe I went down the rabbit hole of like for a few days of complete like depression, like just being like, oh my gosh, this could take 3 months to recover. I could not walk for maybe 6 months or whatever. And I work out and I'm like an ex-athlete. So for me, like having a broken foot is not exciting. So for a couple of those days, I didn't do my own method because I was like laid up in bed. I was just like feeling like terrible and just like upset and sad with what happened to me, like, going down that. But that also didn't serve me. The second that I had told my boyfriend, hey, can you go grab my journal from my area? Because I couldn't walk at this time. Go grab my journal, go grab my sage, go grab my crystals, bring my candles. We put it all on my nightstand. The next morning I woke up and I did that whole process. And all of a sudden I was like so happy the rest of the day, so happy the next day. And I continued. So I was just like, even for myself after doing this for so long, even just not doing it a couple days, I saw myself go down that spiral of negativity. So that's what brings the power of doing this in the morning. And then another thing of just reprogramming your subconscious mind with the goal that you want to achieve and manifest is that the rest of the day, you're going to be taking inspired action subconsciously from what you were writing that morning. So for example, say you wanted to manifest a new job. So for example, later that day, maybe you're feeling like, oh, you know what? I'm just so sick and tired of applying for jobs. But subconsciously, like that morning you wrote out that you wanted to go find that dream job that you wanted. So you're going to, it almost like kind of like powers you through to be like, nope, I said I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go job search, like maybe at least 1 or 2 more applications and then I'll be done. And then who knows, maybe that second application that you put in was that dream job that you had a few minutes prior were just thinking about giving up and not doing anything else. So it's all about that reprogramming of the mindset. And that's what just like continuously inspires you to take that inspired action. Because at the end of the day as well, like just because you're writing something down, it doesn't mean you can just like sit back and hope it falls into your lap. We have to take that inspired action as well.
Yeah. And that was actually what I was going to ask next, because, I think that is where, when The Secret first came out, it got a little bit of a bad rap because they didn't talk a lot about the action piece. And I think this ties in with what we were saying earlier, that when you're making some of these changes and you're getting your mind on board with where you want to go, it's not always fun. It's not cute. It's not always comfortable. Oh. And so tell me a little bit, we can kind of like start to tie this together here. How important is it to, as we do this process in the morning, then to have that dictate the actions that we take for the rest of the day? Like, talk about that magic piece
of having it dictate the rest of the day. So
the action piece. Yeah.
Oh, the action piece. Yes. So the inspired action is so we have this manifestation goal that you have, finding a job, making more money. So the importance of taking that inspired action, you have to do something towards it. So say, want to find a job. You have to create the application. You have to start applying. You have to go out and network or reach out to friends and ask. And something along the way there is going to connect that dot for you. That's what makes it so, so powerful. And then another example is like, say you want to make a little bit more money. Okay, well, how is it? Is it by you getting more clients? Is it by you selling some stuff? Is it by investing? How does that look? So then you have to take that inspired action. It's like, okay, well, in business, I have to show up on social media. I have to create the course. I have to create the thing that will allow people to buy from me so I can make money. So that is taking that inspired action. And you do that every single day with that subconscious thought in mind of you reaching that goal. And then along the way, here's the magical piece of all of it, is when you are taking that inspired action, you have to start learning to tune in to your intuition. That is the most powerful thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or if you're like, oh, I don't really go with my gut feeling ever, I'm telling you right now, you want to start tuning into it. That is your guiding star. Like, honestly, if you start like paying attention to how you feel when you do certain things. So for example, say you're applying for a job and you read a job description and you're like, oh, you know what? Like, like your intuition's like, no, I don't want it. But you're filling out the application anyway, just because you feel like you have to, where you're going against like your intuition and your gut. So it's already telling you, don't do this. Mm-hmm. And secondly, you might get that. For example, say if you got that job and you're like, oh yay, I got a job though. I'm glad I didn't listen to my intuition, but then the job's probably going to suck. It's probably not going to pay you what you wanted. It's something down the road is probably going to happen where it's going to teach you that lesson of, hey, that red flag was there before you did the thing, but you didn't listen to it. So I never want to say the universe or your high power is like teaching you like lessons or whatever, but at the same time, you are going to have some experiences. So then it will like teach you, hey, when your intuition, when I'm speaking to you, like it has that little voice, listen to me because I'm guiding you to where you're supposed to go. But when you're like working on something and you're feeling good and excited and happy and you're like, oh my God, this is it. That is when you want to like put all your attention towards it. So really start tapping into your feelings and your intuition, because from a young age, I mean, especially as women, we're told like, you know, lock that voice out. Like you have to do what society tells you to do or what so-and-so tells you to do. And we really at a younger age start to tune out our intuition. But it is actually one of the most powerful tools that we have. And in order to tap back into it, it does take time. Like this is something that could take you, you know, weeks to months to years to tap back into, depending how suppressed you really made it for yourself. Right. But once you start tapping it, it is just beyond powerful.
Oh, so good. So, okay. You really took this process that you had that had worked well for you, that had worked well for this group that you walked through your process. And where did you decide to make this physical product out of the process? Like, tell us a little bit about the journal, and then obviously we'll tell people where they can find it and all those good things.
Social media, and I help entrepreneurs launch programs and all that sort of stuff. So I always had all types of entrepreneurs come to me. But my philosophy with being a coach is I won't teach you how to do something that I've never done before. So over the years, I knew back in the year, a few years ago, I would dabble in like trying to find products to sell and to make my own brand and stuff like that. Like no one knew I was doing this. This was completely behind the scenes. But I was always so attracted to, oh, what would it be like to have a physical product and like sell something? And so with that, and now entrepreneurs coming to me asking me, hey, Sam, I sell a product. Can you help me launch my business? Or can you help me scale on social media, et cetera? And even though launching a product and having, you know, online programs or digital products, I mean, similar, but they're not. So I would always tell the people with physical products, no, my program's not for you. So over this last year, it kind of came full circle with, okay, well, I have this process, I have this method. I could turn this into a journal, because I was actually using, you know, just notebooks myself that I just bought at like TJ Maxx or whatever. And I had this journal, and earlier last year, this past year, I couldn't even find a journal. We were in Hawaii over Christmas and New Year's, and I needed a new journal. So what I did is I actually went and ordered a journal, and I put Maniscripting on the cover of it. And it was like, you know, just like a plain journal with the word on it. And then one day my boyfriend was like, oh, he's like, where'd you get this from? Like, where'd you get this? And I was like, oh, I just ordered it real quick for my journaling this for the year. And he's like, you should make these. And I'm like, and literally light bulb went off. Like, wow. Oh my gosh, this is the Maniscripting method in the journal. I just need to now create the physical product. And it's like hitting two birds with one stone, because I'm going through the entire manufacturing process, the selling process, the launch process. And soon, hopefully, maybe next year, eventually, I'll be able to teach other entrepreneurs how to do the same thing now that I've done it myself. So that's kind of like how it all came together.
So exciting. And, you know, that's like part of the DNA of an entrepreneur is like set the goal, figure out how to do it. And then, you know, for a lot of us, then we turn around and teach other people how to do it too.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to feature your amazing product and company as part of our Girl Gang gift guide, because to me, I love giving gifts like this, ones that are beautiful and intentional and support other women. So tell everyone where they can find the journal and everything else that comes along with it, because it's more than the journal itself.
Oh, yes. I'm so obsessed with this journal. I'm not just saying it because I created it, but it is full on a luxury. It's like a big paper page size journal. So it's a big journal, hardcover. It's gold and white. It also comes with a quartz crystal, a bundle of sage, and a gold crystal pen as well, because those are like I would call those are like the starter kit for pure manifestation and to bring all of your manifestation to fruition. So it all comes together in a beautiful gift box. So this is a perfect gift for yourself, or even, you know, if you have any girlfriends or besties in your life that you know want to just step into their higher selves. And the most powerful part about this journal isn't that is just a journal that you just write in every day. The first half of it is actually a full-on self-development workbook where you get really clear. You figure out what your limiting beliefs are, what's holding you back, what you really want. Because again, like we kind of talked about already, if you're not clear on what you want, then you have no idea what you're going to ask for, or you're going to be really wishy-washy with what you want from the universe. So it all comes in a beautiful gift box, and it is just it's such a beautiful, incredible gift for yourself or somebody else. And you can find it on maniscripting.com.
And of course, we will link everything in the show notes. I was so fortunate to get a little sneak peek and get to like touch it, feel it. I know that sounds weird and creepy, but I'm like a big tactile person. Like I want, and especially for something that's supporting me in bringing my vision to life, I want it to feel luxurious and just beautiful and inspiring. And I feel like you've just nailed it. You've created the most beautiful, inspiring tool in order to take these daily practices that I've already been doing, but I haven't ever been consistent about writing. So that is something I'm totally taking you on. I am going to get one for myself and make sure that now I'm adding in the writing, because as you were talking about that, I can totally see how it just would deepen the practice that I've already been doing. So, Sam, I'm so excited about this and so grateful to you for listening to that intuition to create it. So, before we wrap up, one final question, and this has kind of been fun to ask people as we've navigated through a year that has been challenging. And I think it's been important for me to pause and remember the places where I have been great. And we just call it your powerhouse moment. So it could be anything at all, big or small, anything in the last little season that right now comes to mind. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, I was a total powerhouse in how I handled that, or how I grew or learned from it. Anything at all that comes to mind, like what your powerhouse moment of this year has been.
Oh, that is such a great question. I know my powerhouse moment, and this was really hard to do for me. My powerhouse moment was to put my Maniscripting Journal first over my other business by saying no. And this is again, by setting some boundaries, by saying no to doing stuff in my business that I know was no longer going to serve me. I'm really passionate and excited about this Maniscripting Journal, and I'm fully supporting all of my students and clients with my other business, but I know how much power this journal has. So for me to have said no to some big opportunities with my other business, that was a big powerhouse moment for me, because I'm so excited to just get this journal out to the masses.
Oh, that's so powerful. I know exactly that feeling. And I'm just grateful to you. I cannot wait to get one. I think this is the perfect gift for all the women in your life who also are just committed to being a powerhouse in 2021. So thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.